What's up preppers, welcome back to another video, and I want to go through my emergency car kit with you. Now this isn't just like a breakdown kit or something like that, this is more an SHTF. Something happens that would trigger an EMP or a solar flare with a CME and we lose all power wherever the car happens to be and we've got to get home. So it's kind of a get home bag, it's kind of a survival bag if you had to be with the vehicle for 18 to 24 hours before somebody could come and get you. That's the thinking behind it. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you before we go and look on the table what's in it is the bag itself. So this is the bag. Now for your fans of camouflage and stealth, this might not be your best choice, but I got this because of the reflective bag, which has a reflective strip there, two strips on the side here. It's got the normal shoulder pads, but it's also got the waistband strap for spreading the load, and it's got two little cool side pockets there for quick access, and then three sections of bag. So it's quite a decent sized bag, sturdy. You can make the kit as small or as big as you want within this sort of remit, and this still sits nicely under my boot liner because there's a recess where the spare wheel would normally go, but my car doesn't have a spare wheel. It's one of the self-inflating things, which I know is a problem in itself, but hopefully once I upgrade the car the spare wheel will be mounted on the back. That's a project for later. So that's the bag. I got this locally as a random find at a place near me. If I can find all the stuff in the bag and the bag itself are sourced from multiple different locations. If I can find links for them or similar, I will put them below, but there might not be a link for everything. It's just, your best judgment if you're preparing it for yourself. So we'll go through this and we'll see what we think. Okay guys, so I'm going to unload it here for you, section by section. So the first section, the main section at the back, we have one blanket. It's one of the baby's blankets, but good for any of the kids. Thick, nice, warm. It's like fleece lined. We have a secondary blanket, which is more of a wool blanket. So there's two blankets there, which form the core of that, if we have to sleep in the car for any reason. I have a torch slash inspection light, so not only good for repairs because it hangs, it can also be used as a torch. It's also got a magnet on the back, so good for breakdown repairs as well as general getting home and survival. I have this, which is the emergency survival kit. This is a 27-in-1 emergency kit. I've reviewed this before and I'll put the link at the top for this one. I'll put the link to the video in the description as well, just in case you don't want to skip out at this point, but we've already reviewed this before. All your normal stuff, your tinder starting, compass, etc., everything in there. A glow stick, okay, just if it's a breakdown, if it's the side of the roads, you don't want to be shining torches at people or anything like that, so it's good to have something like this just to throw out to show a hazard. There, I've put together this little pack here. Not going to unpack it at the moment. The multi-tool compass thing that I got is in there, two sets of knives and forks, an ethanol heater and some matches. There is a lighter to go in there, and there's a flat hex stove, foldable hex stove as well. The reason for the hex and the ethanol is the actual hex goes on top of the ethanol to create that oven where you can put the mess tin on without having to go out and buy a special thing for it. I have two of these which I put together when I was selling military stuff, and it is one of the British military complementary kits, we shall call it. It's a spork, a tissue pack, stormproof matches, scouring pads, antibacterial wipe, hot drink whitener, dental gum, coffee, tea bag, salt, pepper, sugar, water purification tablets, hot sauce, curry powder and chili powder. So it's the complement that goes alongside a meal pack usually. In the second section I've got 2 of the Ready Wise meals that I've already tried. The stroganoff was one of my favourites, if you remember. We know they can feed 3 or 4 people, 1 pack of them. So there's a good 2 sets of meals there. I've also put this in. These are more single serving ones. They're supposed to serve 2, but generally we eat them as a single serving. But at a push they would do 2. So yeah, just store-bought versions of the same sort of thing. I have coffee, 3 in 1, so no milk, no sugar needed, just as they are. So as well as the British Army coffee, I've got a nice option there, because you know what, if I have to walk for 3 days, as long as I've got coffee, I'm good. Okay, that's the coffee. Horlicks, I mean, I know that's a bedtime drink, but purely because my partner doesn't like coffee. So there's tea bags in there, and then there's Horlicks as an option for her. I have 2 of these, which are Warrior Raw Protein Flapjacks. So they're individually packed, they last quite a while, and they're not just normal flapjacks, they are protein, so they are pretty much a bar full of energy when you most need it. That's the middle section. Now the last section is a bit random. Now I have a medikit in the car, so I've got band-aids, stuff like that. So I've got that stuff in the car, so this is just kind of extras. I've got some masks, we all remember them, yeah, you never know. So we've got some masks. I've got tissues, not so much for a runny nose, but you get caught short and you need to go in the bushes, it's a bit better than the leaves. I have some extra painkillers, okay? Said I've got the medical kit that has painkillers, antihistamines, IBS tablet. It has everything we could possibly need in that medikit, but single sleeves. So this is just extra painkillers for on top of that. I have, of course, one of my paracord little keyring things that I make now. So one of those is always handy, you never know. With the current climate, I've added the potassium iodide, just in case we're caught in a situation we have to get home with any sort of exposure. Yeah. And lastly in this section is super glue. Now super glue is not only great for repairs, it's also an emergency large wound sealant. If you don't understand what I mean about that, have a look at it, Google that online, you'll probably get some results from the Vietnam War, but that can seal up quite a big wound if you needed to. Not the best way of doing it, but you know, in that situation. So that's it at the moment. Now, like I said, in the car I do have a separate medical kit, and I do carry like half a crate of water in there at all times. So about cooking and brewing, I'm always going to have water, and I'm always going to have the medical kit. So this is the extras alongside that you may need. Now the water I store in the car, I advise the same, do not get the giant 5-litre drums to store in the car. Only because if you have to abandon the car and get out there quickly, you're not going to be carrying 2 giant drums. I've got half a crate of the 300ml bottles, so you can plan your journey and think, I'm going to need at least 3 bottles to get me home, 2 bottles to get me home, whatever you need, and you don't have to carry it all. Okay, so bear that in mind and think of the situations you might be in. Also, when you're route planning around the UK, if it's a 400-mile journey, make sure you're constantly aware of whereabouts you are and where your closest get home point is. By that I mean, if you're heading to family and you're 10 miles from family but you're 300 miles from home, don't leave your car and walk home. Yeah, get to family first, get to a safe place first, then assess the situation, then you can possibly get back to where your preps and things like that are. I do want to add more to this. I want to add a bit more food, a couple more similar things with different variations of the protein bars, quick, easy energy. And I do want to add a couple of bits for the kids, even though when we go anywhere they have their own little travel bag. It would be nice to have some emergency stuff in there just in case. So that's my car kit. Let me know your comments below. Let me know what you'd add to it, what you'd remove from it. You know, what's a good idea, what's a bad idea. I'm here to learn as much as you are. If you've got this far, I really appreciate you. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.